as soon as I started lifting weights, I was like, this is what my body was meant to do, you know, lift. Like I always was like so shy about my big thighs and like my big butt. And then I was like, no, this is like allows me to heave a shitload of weight off the floor. Like it was an amazing time. Like I totally was self-realized or actualized, and I felt like authentic.
You know, people, a lot of people are wondering, how do you keep doing it? How do you get it done? How do you keep just energized through it all? Well, Caveman Coffee is my secret. Y'all know that. What I'm enjoying currently, traveling a bunch, been all over lately. I just take that cold brew concentrate with me, and I get myself some Topo Chico. I pour about a half a glass or a quarter of a glass of the concentrate, and then I put that Topo Chico over it, and it is like it's like a mineral, bubbly, enriched, just source of love and energy in that glass. It's like a little mini cocktail for those of us that don't drink. And it's fucking awesome. I love it. You can get it at cavemancoffee.com. And if you want to get crazy, and you have a little magic bullet, go ahead and get nuts. Put a little bit of that concentrate right into the magic bullet, and then spin it up. And then pour that slowly into about a half a glass of the Topo Chico. That's another level of love right there. You guys are going to dig it. Check out cavemancoffee.com. This podcast and my life brought to you by cavemancoffee.com. Also, if you're in Texas, check out all the Concrete Cowboys. Austin, Dallas, Houston. You know where it's at. You want to exhibit it in like some ultimate fun? Man, it's going to be the best out of your life. Get down there. Check it out. Hottest girls, best service, really congenial staff, and no bullshit. There's no fights. There's no drama. They're fucking so dialed in, man. Those guys are killing it. Anyways, do that. And if you're in Dallas, you want some of the most delicious food ever, and sometimes there's some New Mexico green chili there, man. Rico Taylor is my boy that's running it all up there, and he's another New Mexico boy. He's got that Rio Grande green chili flown in and put in eggs, and oof. If you all know, then you know. Dallas, you're welcome. You're welcome. New Mexico is just saying, got you guys, you're welcome. It's delicious. Check it out. Clutch Bar, Dallas on Cedar Springs Road. Soon to be on Washington Avenue, also in Houston, but not yet. Also want to give a shout out to my boys over at Original Nutritionals. They got a great goat protein powder that is supposedly fantastic. I like the goat butter in my coffee. I blend that up with my hot coffee because it's just more delicious, and they say that it's more bioavailable. I don't know if that's true or not, but I feel great on it, and it tastes great, and it adds a delicious flavor. So I'm excited to try the goat protein as well. Also, what I do know is that my inflammation in my joints goes down. I feel more supple and able and energized, and it levels out my omegas when I drink fish oil. And Original Nutritionals has some of the best fish oil on the market. So if you're in the market for that, or you need something like that in your diet, and you do, if you want to get better, I mean, you can live without it for sure, but not if you want to live great. I'm looking to be the best. And as I age, I get less and less the best. So I need to kind of dial everything else in so I can get the most out of what I got. Which is this old crippled body that's decaying before my eyes. I just feel that way because right now I'm at the Reebok Training Center and I'm watching the ultimate athletes in the world compete, and they're all getting ready. They're under some of the best tutelage and the best coaching ever. The Reebok staff here is beyond compare. Just lovely people at Reebok headquarters from top to bottom, everybody. Janitors to CEOs. I've met everybody, and it is fantastic. Also, the UFC brand, the clothing brand, they're talking to me and Keith about like, what suggestions do you have? Like, everybody is so ego free and open minded about how to make everything better for everybody. So anyways, I'm a real supporter, man. I love it. I'm I didn't really have an opinion before, and now I'm like, this is amazing. It's an amazing project they have here. And so anyway, please support that too. You can find them at Reebok.com. And these trainers that I wear, they're the Mark Bell trainers, man. The weightlifting shoes, they're my favorite. They fit better than Converse for me. I have these fat, wide feet. But they're great, man. Durable, nice, good looking, the most comfortable. I work out in them. I travel in them. Everything, man. I have 4 pairs. They're going to discontinue them because not enough people are buying them. And so I'm getting 4 more pairs, man. I'm going to stock up. But check them out. If those are your favorites too, get online, Reebok.com, and you can even build your own shoes on there, which is really dope. Big thanks to Connor Murphy, who set all this up for us. Connor's an exceptional athlete in his own right. An ex-military man and just a fantastic human. And I believe you can find him at Connor T. Murphy on Instagram. But anyway, great dude. And he's in a picture. He's the guy that's super duper ripped in a picture with me and Keith. I don't know if I tagged him though. God, I don't do social media right, you guys. I'm admitting that. I need to up my game everywhere. I need a little help. You guys got input, I'd love to hear it. Maybe I wouldn't. Be nice. Just be nice to me. I'm too sensitive to hear any bullshit online. Swear to God. So anyway, that's it. Deuce Gym also. I want to shout out my gym, UndisputedFitness.com. Check them out. It's where strongman training goes on. We've got CrossFit training, and then we have 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu Santa Fe, strangling fools up in there. Ruben is going to the headquarters down in LA. I'm going to miss it, damn it. But he's going to try out for EBI, and he's a favorite to win. Just to, for the ability to compete. It's like a wrestle off kind of deal. And then he and Nate both are going to do a fight to win tournament in Albuquerque. And Nate's a brown belt, and he's going to be going up against a black belt. And then Ruben's going up against another black belt too. Man, and those guys, they're just assassins, man. So good. So if you're in Albuquerque, check out Fight to Win. That's coming up this summer. And then if you're in LA, go to 10th Planet headquarters downtown, and they're having a mini tournament there. But today I'm super stoked. Got a fantastic guest on board. As able as she is beautiful, the lovely Emily Abbott. So, without any further instruction of this website, that website, please stay tuned and check us out.
A big Tait Fletcher.
Powerful Tait Fletcher
is a real alpha male.
Weightlifter. He's a stuntman.
Movie star. Robust, enthusiastic individual.
He's huge, by the way. He's like a monster person.
One of the sweetest guys I know.
He's bigger than life.
Actor.
Entrepreneur.
A fighter.
The jiu-jitsu technician.
He's also bald and he has all these tattoos. He's just a big fucking man.
A man, a myth, a legend.
Tait Fletcher.
Tait Fletcher.
Tait Fletcher.
What's up, Tait Fletcher, you bad motherfucker?
Tait Fletcher. Tait Fletcher is
Tait Fletcher.
Teddy Bear motherfucking Fletcher, ladies and gentlemen.
That's Tait Fletcher, everybody.
The great Tait Fletcher. Tait the animal Fletcher. Tait the savage Fletcher. Always moving. There's no stillness with Tait Fletcher. You will find no dust.
Tait Fletcher's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. He just said the word erection.
Tait Fletcher.
Tait Fletcher's in the fucking house. Tait Fletcher!
Tait really blasts out some serious hardcore truth bombs, and I think you're really going to enjoy it.
Welcome. So anyway, this is the podcast I do. It's called Pirate Life Radio, and we just, I don't know, talk for however long. And you've been a games athlete for how long?
This will be my 3rd consecutive games.
And when did you start CrossFit?
Roughly 2012. Yeah, and I was just, I've told this story probably a million times, but I'll tell it once more.
Thank you.
For you, Tait. I was traveling. I finished 5 years playing university basketball.
First of all, you're not American.
No,
you're
I'm Canadian.
a non-American, we'll call you.
No. I'm a Canadian.
And you said what yesterday? You said that's like America Light, or
no? You said that's Diet America, and I gave you a horrible stink eye.
I was like, I think she might nuke me right now.
Yeah, and I said I would pull your little mustache.
That's right. Okay,
right off your face.
Okay, where in Canada?
Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So for those of you that don't know, that is the province above Montana.
Okay.
So it's beautiful country, the country of the big sky.
My friend Jody Middick, he's a councilman up there.
Oh.
Yeah. And he was a sniper for the Canadian special teams or whatever, and lost his legs. And now he has, like, from his knees down, he has prosthetics. And we were just friends on the internet. We got friends through coffee. Because, like, before I started the coffee thing, I would just talk about coffee on Twitter a lot. And he's a dude on Twitter. He'd heard me on, like, Joe Rogan or something. And so he followed me. And then we became, like, coffee friends. And I'd send him, like, my favorite coffee, whatever city I was. And he'd send, like, it was a trip. And then I got to meet him because he was doing PTSD stuff. And he came down to California. Oh, okay. And then he did a workout with me, did a strongman workout, stones, and he's got titanium. I mean, it's amazing.
Wow.
My friend Logan, he takes a picture of it, and underneath he captures it. We're all out of excuses around here.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, anyway.
That would put things in perspective. Hey?
Yeah.
Small world, this coffee world.
Yeah. The whole world,
So... yeah, from Calgary, Alberta. I played basketball in Ontario, which is another Canadian province. We won a couple national championships, so it was a super fun time in my life. And that was, I think, when I learned a lot about myself and, mental toughness and how to push through pain or mental fatigue and those kind of things. We kind of had this crazy French Canadian coach.
They're tough people.
Oh,
I mean, they're not the nicest folks, but they know how to be tough.
They certainly do. Yes, they certainly do. And then I thought for the longest time, even while I was playing basketball, that I wanted to be this drifter. I wanted to just go travel, for 10 years, just go figure it out. I just wanted to see the world. So I started
like Jack Kerouac on the road.
Oh, totally. Dharma bums, all that stuff. And I thought that's what I wanted. So I went and I traveled Europe. I went to New Zealand. I went to Indonesia. I actually got dengue fever in Indonesia. So I got super sick. Yeah. And I lost 25 pounds.
Right.
And then when I started to get healthy again, I was like, all I wanted to do, every moment I got healthier and more energy, all I wanted to do was train or for anything. I would go out and surf, and it was just your appreciation for life.
That's part of the hunger of being ill like that and going, oh my God, all my physicality is taken away.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think I was just looking for
What did your weight fluctuate?
I think I was, you're
5'9" or something?
I'm 5'8". Okay. So I was also heavier too, because I was drinking, eating whatever I want. So I went from 170 down to 150, 148.
Right.
And so I was super skinny, which was, I called it the dengue diet. It got me in shape.
Of course.
Right. Anyways, I just always found myself wanting to do some kind of fitness. I remember being in Paris at an Airbnb, and I was doing push-ups and squats and Shaun T, fitness.
Right.
All the time. I was like, what is wrong with me? So I came back.
Did you get results doing it?
Well, no.
Because you didn't know what you're doing or what direction.
I didn't know. I just had no directions. I didn't know how to express my fitness yet.
Right.
I didn't.
It's a crazy thing. There's a quote it reminds me of where they say busyness doesn't mean that you're actually doing it. You're just busy. It doesn't mean performance. It doesn't mean that you're accomplishing something. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you meet the people who are really busy all the time, but do they ever get anything done?
And there's zero, and it's kind of like an excuse.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. So then I went back to North America and I got into CrossFit. My boyfriend at the time introduced me into it, and of course was as soon as I started lifting weights, I was like, this is what my body was meant to do, lift.
Beautiful.
I always was so shy about my big thighs and my big butt, and then I was like, no, this is allows me to heave a shitload of weight off the floor. It was an amazing time. I totally was self-realized or actualized, and I felt authentic.
It's awesome.
So of course, and then my boyfriend at the time was why don't you try to compete? So I think in 2013 I moved back to Calgary, and I just I was I'm gonna make it to the CrossFit Games. And somehow, some way, I was also in like a weak region at that time, West Canada, Canada West. And I made it to the games my first year. Was I ready for it? No. Was I like skill wise ready for it? No. I was like dog shit. But somehow I got put into this position and it forced me to get better. You know? So
I think when you're around through great competition, you can't help but get better. That's where you get the best, right? If you're around the best people. I mean, how fortunate.
Yeah. And I was constantly being put in, like I came here my first year because I was like, why not? I was being put in these really uncomfortable situations.
Here being to Reebok?
Yeah, I came to Reebok, yeah.
Sick.
And I didn't know anyone. I was just like, I was so new and so fresh. And I just kind of jumped in there. And I was scared shitless, but it was like the only choice was to get better, to just keep working. So
that's awesome. What did you think before you got into that? Were you just like, I'm happy being a drifter, or did you ever have fear like, what am I going to do when I got to get serious about life or whatever the thing is,
I think before there's always a dilemma when you're like an ambitious person, I guess. Like there's two sides of me. I'm very ambitious, and then there's another side of me who's like, I could just like go chill and surf and, hang out with my dog.
Have coconuts and good.
Right? But then there's this other part of me, this like duality that always takes over and like pulls me into this now crazy world of CrossFit. Like it's crazy.
Do you think there's part of everybody that wants to leave a mark like that? I mean, it's weird. I've been thinking about it a lot. Like everybody they talk about people being equal. And it's like, we're not. There's different. Like I've got one of my best friends, and he'd rather do nothing. He's retired, and he's like, I like to walk my dog at the park every day, and I go home, and I'm happy doing nothing at all. And I'm like, I want to produce something. I want to I'm not. It's crazy how variant we all are,
Yeah, and I certainly don't understand people who want to do that, but I completely respect that because we're just all passing through.
Yep.
Right? So you can totally shape your life which way you want to. For some of us, like for me, I feel the closest to like the universe when I'm moving.
Right.
When I'm snowboarding, when I'm surfing, when I'm in front of a crowd of 20,000 putting a clean and jerk over my head.
Crazy.
That's when I feel like most alive, right? So if for your friend, like, that's super cool too. There's so many. What's great about this day and age is that, especially for women, there's so many avenues that we can go down. There's like the possibilities are endless.
You could be the president of America.
Well, I think I'd be a better choice than Hillary Clinton.
You would be better than everybody. It's amazing. It's a trip. I think about that. I read this book, The Rise of Superman, which I talk about incessantly since then, but it talks about that. It talks about going into these states, like a flow state where, and I think, for sure you can feel it in your body, surfing, snowboarding. Like when you catch that and you're one with the earth, it's a different energy, man, that courses through. You're on course with the vibration of the world, of the universe. Like it's palpable.
Yes.
It's such a rush, man.
It is.
Like, and there's something about being scared about doing it too. I think about the nervousness of like, okay, we gotta go. You're gonna have to pull the trigger. Okay, go. And then and there's all of that then releases all the norepinephrine and all these endorphins, and like it all just plays into this perfect storm where your decision making gets better, everything gets better.
Yeah, and I think if you have that self-awareness to realize like how amazing those situations can be, and I'm sure for you, and we were talking about this earlier off mic, but how it can just lead to amazing thing after amazing thing in your life.
Right.
And I think I've been someone who's always been lost, but lost in the right direction. So people always ask me, like, do you have a plan for post CrossFit when you're done competing? No, I really don't.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm so faithful that something amazing is going to come along, and I'll just gracefully step into the next thing.
I was talking to Lucas about that, and he was like, well, what do you think about that? And I said, I think you got to be where you are. And I think if you are 100% committed to the thing you're doing, and that's like I feel like the microcosms mimic the macrocosm, kind of like. And so whether it's in a 10-minute workout or whether it's over the course of several years of your life, the attention to the details and the nuances speak to the other. Like it all ripples together in that way. And I said, I don't think there's any use in thinking about the future in that way. And I think that the people that pull us away from that want us to be safe. But at the same time, I think that if you spend time creating dominion over self, like trying to really own and actualize the different aspects of your intellect, your emotions, your physicality, your spirituality, and you're paying attention to those at least, you get better exponentially in the minutes, in the moments, not in thinking about planning for the future. You get better right here. And if I'm better right here, I'll take this vessel of my body into the future, and I'll be more able for whatever comes up there, which will be different than what I could plan for from today anyway. Right. So it doesn't really matter. I'm fucking myself if I think about the future too much in a way. It's a trip. I don't know. I mean,
love that.
There's something I think that's super valuable in that, because I think we have to be 100% committed to the thing that we're into. You have to honor it. And then faith. Like I was telling Lucas, I'm not a religious guy, but I've got infinite faith.
Yes.
And my life shows my faith, because nobody would throw the dice like this unless they had faith, you know?
Yes.
And I think that's important, man. I think that's how we're supposed to live.
Yeah. I love that. You've made me feel a lot better about myself in just like this span, because all the time it's like, what are you going to accomplish next? What are you going to accomplish next? Well, you know what? Like, I'm having so much fun right now. Why would I want to change it?
Yeah, and what's the point?
I get to like travel around, do fitness, and eat a ton of food. Like, what is better than that? And meet great people. It's like, I don't want to change this right now. Right. And yes, okay, of course I could have some catastrophic injury, but I'll figure it out.
Everything.
Right?
I mean, the whole thing ends in death anyway, right? And so you might as well, like Keith and I talk about it all the time, about seek death. Like in whatever you're doing, try to kill yourself. Let it kill you. It's going to kill you anyway. You might as well be audacious in your pursuit of your own death. Your lifestyle is what kills you, whether that's sitting on the fence trying to decide what you're going to do, you fall off and break your neck, whether it's sitting at a desk being an accountant, or whether you're the postman, or whether you're a firefighter, or whether you're a Navy SEAL. It's your lifestyle generally that gets you. Choose it. You get to choose your death. And I want to be I want to have as many of those flow moments as I can have.
Totally.
And I want to be able to be, what's more, I got in a fight with a guy on a radio program once. He was like the producer of Jason's show. And we're just I was talking about Laird Hamilton.
Okay.
And he was like, I'm getting older, and it's going to be the biggest year ever surfing. Like, it's going to be, and I said, it's just, he rides this edge where it's like surfing can kill you, like that can be a wrap. And the guy's like, well, I think that's irresponsible. If he's got kids, what's he doing? He should be playing it safe and all. And anybody that speaks to playing it safe, I'm like, I just have to turn the volume down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think you kind of don't get it. I'd rather have my dad be dead when I'm 12 and he charged at life and showed me, man, there's a structured way to live that is beautiful, than like live forever and be like, it's like people that say, I'm going to stay together for the kids, and they hate their spouse. It's like, you're teaching your kid that love is hatred and animosity. Like, that's not authentic. You're not living authentically. Let's be free, man. And because you said like we're passing through anyway, I think that's a beautiful notion, because passing through from what to what? Like, I always used to think when I was a little kid, I was like, and I feel like this is true, and I don't know if it's true, but I feel like I have a memory that predates my birth, which is weird, just of like a floating in space kind of thing. Could have been a dream that just stuck with me as a child or whatever. But then I also think the mystery of where we're going, I don't know. And, the idea that, we just make up these stories to make it all make sense because we need to wrap our head around it or something. I'm like, I've become happy with the mystery. And whatever we walk through that threshold into another realm, like, I'm happy, I'm fine with that. I kind of feel like we become everything, and that there's a beautiful experience in death. And like culturally, we're taught to be scared of it and don't speak of it in a way.
Well, it's crazy. In university, I took an English degree, and the common reaction I get is, oh, what are you going to do with that?
It's this thing, yeah.
You know what? I learned so much in that English degree, and it's not about what am I going to do with it. It's that in that moment, I appreciated everything I learned, and I was able to like connect. And it was one of my favorite classes was death and dying in Victorian literature. And the Victorians, they were obsessed with death, like
Really?
totally obsessed with it. Yeah.
So that's Edgar Allan Poe came out of kind of a era like that.
Yeah.
So he took it to the macabre kind of.
Totally. And they thought about it all the time. And death was in the home, so it wasn't medicalized, right? So if someone was dying, they were dying in their bed. And that was one way, you know how Victorians were super suppressed about sex, which is really weird, but that was one way to get into the Victorian bedroom, is everyone's gathered around and watching their loved one pass on in their home.
They're probably the kinkiest too.
Oh,
The
for
ones that
sure
are the
they
most
were.
repressed, right?
Oh, yeah.
We don't even want to see the apparatuses that went along with Victorian sex.
Well, that's where it all came out of, right?
Yeah.
Like the little, like little drills that were actually like little dildos. Like,
Well,
it's incredible. It's incredible. It all was invented in that time.
I think back in the early 1900s, maybe if you were a woman, you could go to a doctor for hysteria.
Yes.
And they would get you off. They'd jack
Right.
you off, or
Give
like
you an
have
orgasm.
vibrators or whatever.
Yeah.
And just leave the doctor feeling awesome. What an awesome trick that is.
Yeah, probably the same doctor was writing a manual on how to have sex in marriage and how to say you should really never have sex with your husband.
Right.
You know, like keep it all
Such a
closed.
trip.
Yeah. It's so funny.
That's the thing too about being a kid. I was talking to somebody about sex, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and that idea of like, kind of the job. I guess we're talking about rape, and which is maybe part of sex. I guess I don't know. Everybody says that it's a power thing, but I'm like, it all ends in orgasm. There's sex in there somewhere, guys. We can't just call it all power. There's part of that is, but. I was saying, yeah, like I just don't get. Like, there's stuff I just don't get. I don't understand that. I don't understand. Like, I can't even understand like hurting somebody like that is like weaker than you or anything. Like, there's nothing arousing about that in that way, you know. And I don't. So I don't understand it. But I was like, and I think like conversely, like we're all so, even if we both want sex, if you're 13, 15, 17, and you're having you're never more quiet about what your desires are. You're just both trying to get through the experience. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's first sexual experiences are the most awkward, weird thing. And it takes time to learn how to talk, even though you're both naked maybe. And you're in this, like, it's a trip like that. It's the thing we're most repressed about.
Yes.
And we're not supposed to say what we want or like, or what, like, there's all this stuff. And so I think part of the job of partners is to have that communication, be like, so what is it that turns you on, gets you off, think about like, and making everything kind of okay, to not be like a damning,
it's taboo, or
because that's the thing that smashes.
You're getting
people.
all like Freudian on me right now.
It's a trip. I don't understand
Well,
it,
he would say that like all those repressed sexual urges, no matter how weird they are, that's what fucks us up.
Right.
You know, like that's what.
Well, any repression, a blockage causes cancer. And I mean, I really do think that that's what happened in Orlando. There's a guy with a bunch of blockages about what it is to be a man, or what it is to be in his place, or maybe owning his space and going, like, I don't know if he's a gay guy or not. There's all kinds of news drama. Even if I see a video anymore, I'm like, they're so good at videos. I don't know if that was the CIA or if that was ISIS or what's going on. I have no idea. All I know is that it bums me out, and what I want to do is protect, encourage, and engender a feeling of safety around the people that are near me, and then that goes out from there. You know, I don't all that other stuff, but I do think that there's a thing about rites of passage of people, and that, you know, there's not that in a lot of ways. Like, we create our own in different kind of arenas, whether it's here or whether it's on a jiu-jitsu mat or whatever. I think the healthiest people are trying to express themselves in ways that look dangerous to people that are trying to cleave to safety. And those that cleave to safety, man, you're clinging to an anchor that's sinking. Like, I just believe that.
But do you think that anyone can live the way that like you live, or can live the way that, for people who are clinging, like if everyone in society was living true to themselves, like what would it look like? Would it be absolute anarchy?
Be beautiful.
It might be beautiful, or it could be like
what is it that keeps you from doing stuff?
Usually,
besides like time constraints and stuff, that's not what I mean. But of looking at a mountain and being like, I want to get no, I can't, because like
So it's usually it's like a societal, like
somebody else's judgment of who they think that you might be.
Yeah.
Or like a fear, some kind of a fear.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and isn't that the job? Is how do we get free of fear? Like, and so I think that everybody, regardless, I mean, you're at different times. I was more aggressive 10 years ago, for sure. And like in 10 years from now, I'll be probably even more open for to be available in society. But like, so maybe that's the person then, as they age, they have jobs that are suitable to that kind of temperament. And like, you know what I mean? It's like, there can, because we're all at different places and we're all 1,000 different people as we walk through life. As our temperament, because for sure our temperament changes.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know.
I feel more aggressive than ever.
Well, you're an animal, though. I mean, you're at a place where that's where you're supposed to be feeling. You know what I mean?
Primal.
Yeah.
It's true.
And I think that's the thing. You throw off all, and that's the cool thing about that kind of expression, because you throw all those cloaks of fear off. You're like, oh, fucking sex, or being my body, my nudity, none of it really matters. Like expressing my idea, like what does it matter if they think this or that? I was talking to somebody upstairs earlier, and I was talking about like having. It's just like reflections into yourself, right? And I remember, like, I think about being like a little boy, and you go to a new school, and you're like, you see, like, there's 5 or 6 little boys that are over there, and you're like, I wish they would ask me to come play kickball too, or something. And I wonder what shoes do they have on? Do I have the right shoes on? And like, and all that. And you don't really get that it's not about the shoes. And then you start thinking, and you're like, what does he think that I'm like, that I should be like? And then I'm going to be like that. And then I go up, and if I get the courage and I say hello, all they read is that I'm bullshit. They all just read that it's inauthentic. They're like, I don't know why, that's a weird kid. And so I've done the exact opposite of what I want to do. But we do that kind of thing all through our lives in a large way.
Yeah,
to the degree
why do we do
controlled
that?
by other people, right? And so if we're not noticing that, we never get free of it, for sure. I was on Avengers, and I did the same thing with a group of guys. I looked at it. They were fantastic stunt performers, and I was like, I would just want to be in. Wonder what they're talking. And then I was like, asshole, just be useful. That's what you do when you ever have doubt. You're just here to be useful. Try to be helpful. Hey man, you guys need some water? What's going on? Can I help? Like, and then I think that's always the answer. Is like, so I think that whole thing about having, exacting power over yourself and over your either baser natures or more refined is to. So how can I use that to be more helpful to other people?
That's true. Like whenever I get into a new group of people or a new situation, sometimes I can totally see in myself. I'm very like self-aware or self-critical, but I'm always thinking like I kind of like being the center of attention, and sometimes from that I'll say really weird or like rude things, or I'm just saying things for shock value.
So everybody's radar goes, huh?
Yeah, exactly. They're like, okay, this girl is like, she's loud, and she's like an open book, and that's great. But there's also a side of it that's not great, and I recognize that. And so actually last night I was like, I said something at dinner that I didn't really like that I said, but you know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to focus on instead of focusing on like what I said? I'm just going to make sure that I add value to somebody else's life, that I listen to their story and be helpful. Like, make sure that you're serving, I guess, because in that way, like, or to give value to somebody's life, to make sure that they feel like loved and like appreciated.
I mean, everybody talks about Darwin and talks about competition, and like the big part that's spoken to in Origin of the Species is about cooperation, and how we enrich, and that's how evolution happens. It doesn't happen by ripping down the others. You know what I mean? That's not the base nature of it. There's no sustainability in that. Right. That's just destruction. Right.
And and that makes, especially in competition, it's funny that we're talking about this, because the deeper you get into this and the more like, press you have over who Emily Abbott is or what this other athlete does, you get a little bit more cutthroat, but I don't want to be like that. I just want to make sure that so-and-so out there feels really good going into the games.
Right.
Because that's only going to,
it's beautiful. I had that thought
benefit
yesterday.
Me. Like,
it's like none of these guys wants the other one to have a pulled Achilles or something. Like nobody wants anybody to be hurt. They want to know that they won under the best conditions possible for everybody. It would be a shallow victory otherwise. And after you get to be a high level athlete, I think that starts to happen.
Yeah, it starts to play in your head like, oh, why is this athlete getting more coverage than me? And
but the better they are, the better you are.
That's right.
If they're not on your heels, you're not running very fast.
Well, exactly. And I think, to be quite honest, that has just in the past couple of weeks, that has definitely played with me a little bit. Like there's this little, like, I guess, fear dog inside of me, for lack of a better term, that's saying like, oh yeah, like, you're not good enough, or like, this person's a lot better than you, and she's so and so, and and the dialogue continues. Right. And it's like, you have to take a step back and be like, dude. And
that's future stuff.
Yeah.
Right? That's like planning for your future.
Okay.
All we're doing right now is trying to open my hips a little better.
Yeah.
Or whatever the thing, you know what I mean? And that,
right.
Randy Couture said a great thing one time. He says, the way I think it's so shameful if somebody doesn't have gas when they go into a fight or something like that. He said, it's awful because that's the one thing you have control of. I don't have control if you're better than me, if you've been at it more years than me. I don't have control whether you train harder than me, whether you have better coaches or training partners than me. But I have 100% dominion over my physicality and my endurance. Like, I can take care of that. And if I'm not taking care of that, shame on me for even being in the arena. And he says that other stuff, he says, I can't worry about it.
Right.
And another dude told me a great quote. He goes, you know what worry is, Tait? Because he would say, you got paralysis by analysis. I'd sit there and I'd think about things, and then, right?
Totally.
And then not even, and he goes, worrying is like paying interest on a loan that you might never take out. Yeah. There's no money in it, man. What are you doing? And so then it goes, get present again. Be aware. Be 100% committed to this moment. And I think that's a huge, huge thing. And
I think just living in society, it's like, it just pecks away at you, like taxes, like
news programs.
Yeah, and it just keeps pulling away at you. And I think it's really easy to get pulled out of that present moment. Well, of course we know this.
Sure.
Like, it's so hard to maintain that present attitude.
And nobody wants to, because everybody's looking for the finish line or retirement.
Yeah.
I mean, even like if you're dating somebody for a long time and they go, so when are you guys going to get married? And then as soon as you get married, they go, so when are you going to have a baby?
Right.
When are you going to stop?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's like, and people are just, it's like they infuse small talk into what seems like real conversations. But if you're a deep thinker, you got to go, oh, no, that's just small talk. I could tell my dog's name is Fred, and it would be just as good an answer as next January. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, and so I wonder about that. Like, do you, are you super careful as the stakes get higher for you in a way, of who's around you, of like who nourishes you in those kinds of ways, emotionally and
I think that, I mean, this is all, like you said, uncharted territory. I've never experienced this like level before, and it's getting like meandering. The whole path is getting a little, like, I guess, more scary. But then again, I'm just trying to embrace it all. But I definitely try to, like, I have one or two people in my life that I can talk to, and it's just like, okay.
Perfect.
But I'm also someone who, like, loves to learn from new people. So I like to ask, I get opinions from lots of places.
Right.
And I think I have a little bit of a, malleable mind when it comes to that. So I think the next thing for me is learning how to just be completely authentic and true to who I am as a person, and why I do anything. But you have to define, why do you do anything?
Yeah.
Like, who am I as a person? Well, do I have to define that, or can I just be?
Well, there's all that, and like what then. I used to think about, like, well, who are you if you're not a fighter? If you're not, who are you if you're not dating so and so, or you don't have X amount of dollars in your bank? Like, who are you underneath all the trappings and all the faces? Right. Who are you? Who are you beyond being Tait?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, what's that look like? And are you going to be okay regardless? And part of the faith comes out from an emptiness like that.
Yeah.
And again, there might not be answers in there. But it's important to ask the fucking question.
And that's the thing. It's like I feel like I'm constantly searching. But what I love about CrossFit is, like, it's self-revealing. And so it's like, I'm going into this next competition, the next phase, the CrossFit Games. Who are you made of, Emily? Like, what am I going to see? What's going to come out of me at the games? And that's why, like, I love being like this wild woman, right? Like I can just be totally aggressive and wild and like howl.
And you're supposed to be.
Yeah. But like when push comes to shove, when the shit gets really hard, what are you made of? You know? So I think
I love competition for that
yeah,
reason.
exactly. And I think that's why I'm doing this. I don't know if I necessarily love doing an hour-long workout. Well, nobody does.
No. I don't even know if that's useful to you.
Yeah.
I don't think it's strength building. I don't think it's skill building. It's just like, okay, so I'm learning to be, it's like for me in my sport, it's like sparring. After you already know you're tough, you don't need to do a lot of live sparring. You can get timing other places and you can mitigate your brain injury by not sparring.
Right.
But people do it, and it's like these old ideas. And like, so I already know I'm tough. You can save that hour stuff for me. I'm going to be over. This is maybe better served over here. If I only have this many minutes before the games, what am I going to do? You know, I think there's like, and I mean, every athlete goes through their own thing, and retrospectively, we're a lot smarter, of course, than when we're in whatever. But I think that's the reason I always competed. Like anything I ever did was, well, who are you under all this? And how does your character form? Because you're different people on different day too.
Yeah.
I mean, I was telling Keith the other day, I said, the only thing I regret really about fighting is never a result of whatever happened here or there or whatever, but I regret not being fully present in the thing. I regret not letting loose. I regret being too careful while I was in the fight. And when you do that, you're fighting not to win, but not to lose. And you're fighting not to express yourself fully, but you're trying to look for a result. And whenever I'm looking for a result, man, I'm never really happy with the result. Because it's not about the result, it's the action. And if there's
true.
all those things, man, that being a wild woman, that's such a powerful thing, Emily.
But I've totally lost that because going up to regionals this year, you know, I was like, now there's all this hype behind my name. Now there's all this, like,
being the underdog's easy.
Oh, being the underdog is so easy. Not giving a shit is so easy.
Yeah.
Just come in.
Go ahead and have a name that you got to respect now. Ooh.
Exactly. Like this this name, and then they like come out and do a video of me, and it's all fun. It's great. They're like setting up this like interesting.
It can be, but it all depends on who you are in the moment when they ask. If you're a little too tired or hungry, or you could just miss me with all this right now.
Yeah. And I think I got caught up in first place, winning my regional. Why did that even matter? I was the most anxious before this regionals than I've ever been. Like,
really?
Yeah. And I tried super hard to like suppress that anxiety or like push it away because I'd never felt that before. Because before I was just like, I don't give a shit. Yeah, okay, CrossFit, let's go do it. Yeah. There's no crying in CrossFit. Like, come on. But I would be lying if I didn't say like it affected me more than I wanted it to. And there's actually, I believe there's a lot of power in vulnerability. So like, I think if you express that and say, yeah, I was scared and I was scared of not making it back to the games. I was scared of so-and-so beating me instead of focusing on the things that you can control. I was focusing on circumstance. I was focusing on what I didn't want to do instead of what I could do. So that was like a huge lesson for me. And like over these next few weeks, I just want to get back my mojo. That's all I want to do. I can train till my eyes bleed, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to up in the old noggin. Yeah. Like how am I going to approach this? So
yeah, I think you prepare the days the best, and then like I think everything you've got to do like it's your last for sure. Yeah, and be as hungry as you were the first time, because maybe you're never on this road again. Who knows what happens? I mean, and that's the thing. I think always like what a privilege to be like. People used to go, "Oh, do you hate your opponents or this or that?" No, man, it's a privilege to have them there because I wouldn't be able to do this thing if I didn't have. Like, we all need to be here to create this energy. That there's like a God energy that happens when you're in high competition. I think. Right. That's crazy. I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot going on I don't understand, but I feel it, man. I can feel stuff.
But like, it's so easy to say like, oh, you got to be as hungry as year one, but I'm not as hungry as year one. Like, to be quite honest, it's like a completely different year.
Well, and you're more skilled. I mean, everything's going to be different. Yeah. I think going into it and what that looks like then is like enjoyment, right? Like if I'm not like full of, because you can't breathe ever if you're not happy. If you're, happiness is relaxed and open, like, and the other way is constricted. And so I think that, you find your deep breaths and you go, good to be breathing right now today. I'm going to go do this damn thing, you know?
And just try to soak up those like little moments where like, I think one of my favorite moments of last year was like the clean and jerk. And I'm like, here I am. I'm a 27-year-old female. I was never the best basketball player. I was never like incredible. So it's like now I'm able to do this amazing clean and jerk and hit it in front of all these people and have them all roaring for me. Like,
so
holy
sick.
Shit. Like, that's so sick. Like, yeah, they're incredible experiences. And I just want to go back to the games and get more of those, collect more stories.
It's beautiful. I was talking, reminds me, Laura Phelps from Conjugate, she was talking about what her path was, and she was like, I think a gymnast, and then an endurance runner, and then like a fitness model, or not, like a fitness competitor, a figure competitor, and then maybe a bodybuilder, I think, I don't know. But then her husband Shane was like, you're built perfectly for powerlifting. And she goes, Tait, I always knew I could be a champion, and I just didn't know what it was. And then this thing came up and everything dialed in. And I think what a beautiful thing that is. She wouldn't have found that if she didn't try all these other things.
Right.
Does that make those failures? No, man. Those are building blocks,
right.
And this idea of failure having a negative connotation, it's like my whole life is a bunch of failures that built a wonderful, wonderful place, And I think it's so cool just that I'm going to try this. No, I'm going to try this. And I think that's the thing, like here, it's weird right now where we are with the like a millennial construct and like where everybody wins and where nobody is going to feel bad, and there's a lot of like social justice warrior types but that whole deal of everybody winning, it's such a tragedy, because if I don't find out that I suck at running, if we all get a medal for running, no matter who comes in first, really there's no real first place. I never find out that I'm great at piano, or that I'm awesome at shot put, or like, you know what I mean? It's
doesn't
like,
push you on to the next.
Nobody gets to be great at anything then.
Yeah.
So we're trying to build a mediocre world. Like, what? I don't get it, really.
Yeah.
And I think it's so wonderful to go try all these things.
Yeah.
Get skilled at, like, I think I got asked the question a lot. I remember in 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th, what in 5 years, in 10 years, what would you like to be doing? I'm like, what an irresponsible question to ask, little fella. Like, all that does is scare me that I'm doing something wrong, or that I should have an answer. Because when you ask me a question, I feel like I should have an answer, and I don't have any idea.
I've never had an answer for that.
What would you like to be good at or try in the next 3 months? You want to get good at something by summer, and then do that, and then like build actual humans instead of.
Then what are your thoughts then on like people who are like all about goal setting, like make a 5-year plan, make a 10-year goal. Or 5-year goal, 10-year goal. What are your feelings?
Sometimes they're good. I think you can make. I think like, so I was in a sport that was like short-lived, right? It's like, I mean, there's a time constraint on that.
There's a window.
You're not doing that forever, and so I think you don't have goals beyond that. And maybe you have a good coach or a life coach or a loved one that is like doing some side preparations for you. Whether it's here's money in an IRA, or here's like, maybe there's that shit that happens. I don't know. I don't think that's even important, because I think that when you're in those things with the small windows, those end at like 35 probably, maybe 40. But like there's that kind of a thing. And I think that what you're supposed to do is sharpen your sword and get better and skilled at other things, build yourself a reputation, as it were, until you're in your early 30s. You don't make money until you're in your late 30s, 40s, 50s. Like, I think, you set a road for becoming competent at life. And if you think that fucking high school or even college prepared you to be competent for life, you're fucking retarded. Yeah. You didn't get any of the benefit of school, because that's not what you are. You're brand new, basically. There could be an argument that you could be better off going and traipsing around the earth from the age of 12 till 25. Certainly. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, and not to say that it's worthless to go to school, but I think that there's, because that exacting that kind of discipline is important too, I think. But I don't think that right now, what I ask with people, if they have like people that I know that are like struggling. Where do I go? What's my purpose? Things like that. Or that just come off of a bad drug problem, or they're trying to get clean and they're in their 20s. And like, what do I go, you do what you have fun at doing. Do that thing. And I said, and maybe loosely we'll do a plan and go at 1 year. I want you to have a list of questions. The list of questions are the same for 1 year, 3 year, 5 years. And the list of questions are, who are you fucking? Where are you living? What's your job like? What kind of money would you like to be making? How close are you to the gym? What's your fitness like? What's your food like? What kind of climate do you want to be in? Just really gross kind of things that are like really kind of, it could be obscure even, I'd like to be around green grass, or like whatever the thing is. And then do that at 1 year. Where do you see yourself in that way? Do you own your own business? Do you and then at 3, and then and I think that's important for those kinds of things. If you're kind of lost, if you're already in the tracks of doing the thing, that's a different conversation.
Right.
And I think you don't do that. You have different kind of settings, and those settings are, if I'm at this PR right now, I want to be at this PR, and here's how I'm going to get there in the next 4 months. You know what I mean? Or whatever that is. I think that you do stuff like that because the goal is I want to be number one in the world at this thing that I'm doing.
Right.
And so I think then you make your goals aligned towards that, and that becomes even more dialed in. That's tighter, right? Because the other stuff's already set up for you.
Yeah.
You're already living close to the gym where you're at. You already have the coaches that you want in your life. You already have the support crew, team, family that you want. Mm-hmm. I think it's like that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Although then, on the flip side, being devil's advocate here, you can definitely get mired down in those goals and lose perspective, because then you're just looking for results all the time.
Yep.
And I think we're taught from a very young age that it's only when we do something and accomplish something, then we get the reward, instead of like the effort that goes into the accomplishment or the failure. Right. So it should only really be about the effort.
Yeah. Don't care if you score. I just want you to show up and I want you to put in the work.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the only thing that never changes. You always got to do the work. Mm-hmm. It's weird like that. I feel like the first question is are you having fun? And when you're not having fun, that's the adjustment to make.
But doesn't even stuff that's fun, after a while, don't you think it becomes not fun?
And then you've got to readjust your mind. I think that's where having a meditation practice comes into play, or going to isolation tanks and make that a regular part of your life. When we talk about athleticism, we think it's a one-sided dimension. How hard can you push yourself? Mm-hmm. Get out there, Emily, do some more. We think about volume. We think about volume and weight or whatever. And that's not helpful at a certain point. At a certain point, it has to be about what's recovery look like and wellness. Because as I increase my athleticism, maybe my wellness goes down. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so, I think that there's that we're always finding these balances for sure. For anything that we can say is a truth, we can find an equal and opposite thing that says why it's not a truth. And I think we find that balance, and your body needs to be in homeostasis of some kind. We can't be imbalanced.
Right.
And so I think like that kind of stuff we don't coach enough. And we ought to. We ought to do visualization training before we go to bed at night.
Yeah.
We ought to do a clearing meditation in the morning before we go out onto the day and plot our day. Yeah. Like all that kind of stuff. I think that helps to elongate. That's, I think, why we have a cap on the time of our window of athleticism, is because there's a lot of parts we don't take care of. I don't know. I feel like that's an important thing to look at, though.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to not have fun after you're doing the thing you love, and then like, what am I doing in here?
Right. And then like, what's the point if you just don't have the passion? Like, it's only about passion and effort.
If you don't have passion, you can't encourage and empower other people.
Yeah.
You're just the person. Oh, you're mailing it in. Awesome. You know what I mean? And there's no love in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to be, I think, for me, what creates that lust for life, like that. Fuck, that's good. And then you feel satisfied after, that's what it is.
Yeah. Because, life can be really unsatisfying. And maybe that's why we're always trying to, like, People are always talking about, like, this is what I hate about, like, the generational stuff. Like, oh, this is the worst generation
So
yet.
funny.
Or, like, this previous generation was really shitty. Or, like, two generations ago, people were awesome. Well, it's like,
It's
no.
usually after all those people are dead. When there's nobody that can be like, that wasn't true.
Yeah.
Then that's when that was, the 50s, man. Fonzie, Happy Days. That was the time.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Also, that was when women were most oppressed in America.
Yeah.
That was when everybody was out cheating on all their spouses, like, or whatever.
People were miserable.
It's like,
right?
post World War II, not so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, honestly, I want to be on the side that's saying, like, I think the generations are getting better. People are getting smarter about what they put in their bodies. People are getting, more enlightened. Like, why can't we look at it that way?
It's so true.
And it's like, nostalgia is great, but it's, if you keep chasing after it or reminiscing.
There's not a better time to be alive.
Yeah, I would totally
if
agree.
you got a paper cut 100 years ago, you die of an infection.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's crazy. I mean, people look at Braveheart and they're like, that is awesome.
Yeah.
It is awesome. I would have loved that. That looked great to me. However, if you get a minor cut and you're in a battlefield full of horse shit, guess what? You die 3 weeks later and it's horrible. Like, that's just what, I mean.
I know.
The Cowboys and Indians, the main thoroughfare through town in Old West towns is all people throwing shit in buckets out their window and horse shit everywhere. That's the sludge that people are walking through while they're having the gunfight in the middle of the town.
Yeah.
It's not awesome. That's not awesome.
God, I'm reading a book right now about these Australian POWs under the Japanese. They're like prisoners of the Japanese, and they had to build a railway from like Burma to Siam, and it was like an impossible thing. And like the things that they're saying in this book, I'm like, I mean, in CrossFit, I guess you're trying to get like maybe a little taste of that, like some kind of pain or suffering, but like, oh my God, what they had to go through. It's like, it's an absolute shit show.
Can't even imagine.
Good. And I mean, I know there's horrible things that go on in the world right now, but, but hey, it's getting a little bit better. We're actually in a great time of peace.
Right.
Relative to history.
I mean, we're also like, if you're, like, even in America, like, sure, America is better than a lot of places to live or whatever, but
well,
North America.
Arguably.
Can we say North America,
yeah.
But like that, what I'm talking about 100 years ago, 200 years, that's here. It was like that. Like, it's not great, For sure, it sucks to be a pygmy and fucking harvesting shit that makes cell phones out of the middle of Africa, and you're an actual slave, like, and you're stoked if you get a banana once a day or whatever. Like, that's awful for sure, but it's still a better time than ever. And I think as far as evolution goes, like, technology is a trip, man. We're about to trip over it. I don't know what happens.
Oh yeah, it's really disturbing, actually.
I hope for time travel, but I don't. I think probably we kill ourselves before that happens.
Oh my God, time travel is like the one thing. Like, and whenever anybody asks me like, what kind of superpower would you want? It's time travel.
You know what I do right now to do time travel? I go to sleep right when I get on the plane, and then I wake up and it's a different place, a different time. And I'm like, it's almost like I just teleported.
But back 20 years, 40 years to say hi to Fonzie.
Be crazy.
Hang out with Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
I know. That would be a fantastic.
Where's the best place that you've been? Do you think, like, through your travels, do you go, oh, I'll always be in Canada? Is that the best place?
You know what? From spending a lot of, this sounds really bad, and maybe people are going to hate me, but from just spending time in the Midwest in America, it makes me appreciate Canada that much more.
I grew up in Michigan, and I would say it's a great place to be from.
Yeah.
It's just tough, man. It's like
there's tough.
And there's, there's the consciousness of a place where a bunch of huge companies that employed a bunch. I mean, you've caused poverty there, like over corporatism and without control has caused like huge gaps in poverty and then abilities to take care of oneself. People going, well, who am I now if I'm not a UAW factory worker?
Right.
It's hard to go into that next thing. They don't really know who that is. I mean, it's like the problem with hemp here, like, with people that are loggers or something. That's a big coalition. They don't want hemp here,
right,
because that would take away a lot of their jobs. But Well, or you could learn how to tend hemp, asshole.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? There's that too. Like, here's something that's way more sustainable, useful, and guess who they're going to need for that? They're going to need other people. Do you feel like you could change? And I think that's the idea of where we are now today, is that the rapidity with which we change, like, we're not stagnant.
No.
Like, our parents or their grandparents, their parents for sure, one job their whole life, retire, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
And that was the map for life.
Right.
Well, that map's changed, man. You might have 5 different careers that you're a high level participant at. Like, you just, it's all different now.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got to play it loose, man.
Yeah, I think you just got to be open, and I'm seeing that in my life. The more open I am, and the more, I guess, I just have inherent faith in myself, like, things are going to be okay.
Right.
And if it's not okay, it's probably not the end.
Right.
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 So, yeah, I don't know about that, but I do know that, I mean, yeah, Canada's a great place to live, but I really got into it, and
money's no object.
Right.
Nothing's an obstacle. Where's the place?
I think next to an ocean.
Mm-hmm.
I think next to an ocean.
Oceans and mountains for me, man. That's my jam.
Yeah. Place where I can still, like, maybe go surfing, but then
Vancouver's pretty badass.
Yes.
But that winter time, I only want to spend a couple of weeks there.
Oh, come on.
I don't want to
You're
spend
such
the
a
whole
baby.
winter there.
You're a big bearded baby.
I grew up in Michigan, motherfucker.
Oh, that's true.
I've spent my time in the cold.
And Michigan
But
winters
I'd rather
are terrible.
be in like a Hawaii kind of environment and be in the water and surf every day. Let me spend the winter there.
But the seasons changing are...
I like that. That's why I like Santa Fe.
Foliage.
New Mexico's rad. I'm at 7,000 feet.
Okay.
We're in the lower end of the Rocky Mountains.
Cool.
And it's sunny all the time. It's like this, sunny all the time. Mm-hmm. Except it'll snow. There's a ski hill, like
a
half-hour drive.
Oh, I've never been there.
It's dope.
Yeah?
Come visit.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, it's rad. It's beautiful. I know there's too many places. People I talk to that travel out, they're like, Spain is the jam. And it's like, I don't know. Okay, I'll go look. I'll see what that's like.
Yeah.
But I think, too, like, it's like walking in here after being here a few days. And whenever people ask me that question, I'm like, I think it's more the people that are there. Mm. And I feel like it's kind of like setting, like, who do you want around you? I want people that when I leave, I'm like, I can't wait to see them. I can't believe I have. Not people that when I walk up to them, like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah,
and then you're like obligatory, you know? Like, I want that, man. I want to increase that.
Yeah, you know what? I could honestly live anywhere. I think I could get along. I get along with a lot of people. But, yeah, I think it'll come down to the environment, for sure, and people, yeah. I don't know. I think I could blend in most places.
No, you can't.
Well,
that's like me saying that. Hey, I just blend. I'm not really noticeable.
I think I could be happy a lot of places. I could be happy a lot of places.
I bet anywhere.
I also have a big head, so there's no way I could blend in.
A big head full of red hair. Like, just like a fiery woman walking through. Yeah. Yeah. What are your were you always an avid reader? What took you to English class?
Yeah, I was reading like a
Nancy
ferocious
Drew?
reader. Yeah, Nancy Drew.
It's my sister.
Yeah, my sister and I would read Nancy Drew together. I was like To Kill a Mockingbird is one,
of course,
book that sticks out. Like, I think I read it in the 5th grade.
I think that's why I wanted to be a lawyer when I was a little kid. Was that I was like,
Atticus Finch.
This is righteous. This is like I had a real idea of honor and righteousness, and like. Are there ideas? Like, I remember as a little kid going, are there ideas? What ideas would you die for? What's worth that? And really having like, and it's a fucking weird thing for like a little 10-year-old, 11-year-old boy to be thinking about.
That
but
is
like,
weird.
Always, man, I was like, there's important things out there, man.
Yeah. Oh man, I reread that book probably every year.
I haven't. I should.
You should. You always find something new, and I don't know. And I think I was, again, very unsure of, like, everyone's like, oh, you should do a, kin degree, kinesiology degree. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not me. Like, yeah, I love to move and I love to, like, be athletic. But there's also, like, a side of me that I have to nourish that's very, like, philosophical. And I like to think an intellectual. And,
I I think that's right on.
And I think that's where I found it, because I could take philosophy classes, I could take English classes, I could take like really any course I wanted, and I would always learn something new from that. And you just get to dissect, a text,
Right,
and talk about ideas,
and then have other people, a round table of people, and like, what did you think? And
talk
like
about
that a
history
lot.
and talk about rhetoric, and it was super cool. Like, I don't know, that stuff really jacks me up. And so yeah, I've read a lot. I probably have, and I got away from it for a while.
Do you do like Audible now? Do you do books on tape now, or do you read books?
I gotta read books.
Yeah.
I don't know, just like the feeling of the book.
Yeah, I like that too.
The smell, like, I don't know. And then,
although if I don't, I always carry a couple with me.
Me too,
and then, but I'm always listening to them, like on planes, and I try to as much as I can.
Yeah. And sometimes I pick up books that are like super hard to get through, but I'll keep chipping away at it, because it's like I'm reading Zen and the Art of
Motorcycle maintenance.
Yeah. It's amazing, but it's heavy. It's like at the end of a day of training.
It's like Catch-22 or something. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. It's like I don't know if I can spend any more brain power on like.
What about Watership Down?
Like about the bunny rabbits?
Yes.
God, I never read that book, but I saw the movie. How disturbing.
Beautiful. Oh man. I loved it.
Really?
I think too, it speaks to, there's that one great line in there. And he's talking to the rabbit, and he's like, Prince, what do you call him? Prince of something. He says, they're going to have their claws, and they're going to have their fangs. They're going to want to catch you, and they're going to want to rip you apart. But you'll have your feet, and you'll be fleet, and you'll be speedy, and they'll have to catch you. Or something like, it's like using your gifts, like whatever that is, because the world is a war. In a huge way, until you close your door at night and you go and make yourself a tea and go to bed or watch Game of Thrones or whatever it is. That's free time. And then you open the door and go out again, man. It's like you're navigating, like if you're paying attention, you're coursing your life, and death is nipping at your back, and you better get busy and move efficiently in the way you want to, or articulate yourself in a better way than you did yesterday. It's right there.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to notice those things and to move to, because I think that's the thing, is like, if we don't continue to move better and think better and be better, I don't know. For me, I don't want to have any other conversation, really.
I know, like, and I love that. I really love that. Like, and yes, there's definitely a side of me that I always want to like be better, but there's also a side of me where I just want to be.
Sure. Like
who I am.
I feel that too, but the part of me that hates me then is that if I do that for a couple weeks, 3 weeks, I start going, and I start feeling like I'm shrinking, or like I'm not, and I'm like, what I've built in resilience goes, it's kind of like in CrossFit when they talk about, if you want to be a great runner, awesome, we'll get your 400 time better, but your deadlift will go down. You want to get your deadlift really high? You want to pull 500 pounds? Okay, we can do it. But your mile is going to put a minute on it.
Right.
And it's like, there's always that kind of thing. So I think, again, it's that balance, and like,
the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away.
That's right. Yeah. It's a trip, man. I do feel like that, like the microcosm and macrocosm kind of thing. They mimic each other. It's like the same thing if you look in a single cell. And you look, well, here's what a cell is made up of, and here's the balance of a cell. And then you look to a family, and they're balanced in these entities that are a similar way. And then you look into a city, and they're similar, just on a bigger level. They need all these assets. It's like, and you can take that wherever. And I don't know, it's a trip. That's the other reason I think about death. I think a lot, like that Victorian thing you were talking about, is that I feel like, and please, if you're listening, don't let this spark suicides. But I feel like there's ultimate answers in death. I feel like I've always felt like since I was a little kid, I'm like, I've had a craving for more knowledge in a way. And I thought maybe when my grandfather died, and he's the dude, he made me feel the safest in my life, really. He was, and just like a joyful person, And I thought maybe if I joined him, like he probably knows everything right now. He's probably like this omnipotent, omniscient being that has all the answers of why we're here, what we're doing, where we're going. And I always thought of this life that I was breathing air and walking earth as a temporal thing. Not in the way that, like, of course it's temporal, dummy, you're born and you die, but like that there's a bigger existence beyond all that. And I don't know if that's from upbringing. Like I was raised Episcopalian, which is like diet Catholic, I guess. It's like the Protestant version of Catholics, but but I never had any belief system there. I could never get my head around it. I'm like, this seems ridiculous.
Well, that's what I feel. I could never like, you know how people say like, oh, I felt like Jesus like
entered you.
Yeah.
I'm like, it seems like you were maybe touched not by an angel.
Yeah. I could never. I'm like, you're not. I think you're full of bullshit. I don't know. I could never feel that.
I was talking to priests at 9 years old, and I was like, because my parents had to drive crazy, and they'd go talk to Reverend Downs and see, and be like, so this, that, and he'd be like, yeah, well, and then we'd get to the final questions, and he would be like, well, that's just where faith comes in. I'm like, I don't feel like you know what faith is. I'm a little boy feeling like you, like that's not what it is. It's not like you're believing in make believe. That's not what faith is called. That's not what it is. And how do you know? If you died before, like I thought for sure as a little boy, I'm like, well, maybe people die and come back and that's how they know. Oh no, that never happens. Not ever once. Oh, okay. You guys are full of shit. You're making up a story. Yeah. This is like Thor creating thunder. And we tell our kids, oh yeah, that's Thor up there. He's smashing his hammer because they're scared before they go to bed at night. So we tell them a story. They're like, oh, okay, cool. I can understand Thor and a hammer. I know what that's like. I've seen the blacksmith before. And then that just becomes popular culture because nobody tells that little kid as he has kids that was just a story to put him to bed at night. And now I think all the religions are kind of like the latest mythology in a way that we have which is a trip. And I don't say that to be like diminishing to anybody's shit, but it's like I just don't get it. I mean, I can't get past that thing. And also the atheists on the other side of it, I think they're idiots too, because I'm like, you guys are saying that you know also. All I'm saying is I don't know. Yeah. Nobody knows. And like why that should be an agreement. Yeah. Like it's almost like if you had a lead box that was locked up and somebody's saying, I know what's in there. I know what's not in there. No, nobody knows what's in there.
Well, that's like Schrodinger's cat. It's like I don't know about that. What is it? Don't know. Well, Schrodinger put that cat in a box and it was like a quantum physics study, and then he like shot a gun into the box, a bullet into the box. Right. Is the cat dead? Is it not dead?
Right.
You only know by opening the box.
Right.
But you can extrapolate. Well, like
we can talk about it all day long, but we only have palaver. It's just people yapping.
Right.
Right. Until we know. You got to explore to know. You got to walk the road. I think the fucking thing that trips me out about physics is that deal when they go, if the thing is unwatched, it doesn't exist, or it changes. You can never know what a natural state of something is because it's always kind of perverted by the viewer.
Well, exactly, and that's what the whole thing about. I mean, I'm out of my scope here, but but the Schrodinger's cat is like, it really, it's a mind fuck because like you don't know what's real. It's all perception, and I think that being the point of the whole thing. It brings it down to it's all perception. Whatever you have the most fun at, that you can spread the most love in, I think that's the thing. And shake that stick hard.
And if that's power cleans, fucking do that goddamn thing, you know? I mean, I really think that, man. If it's learning how to get good penmanship when you're a little kid, like, do that 100%. Yeah. Whatever the thing is, if you learn how to be excellent at one thing, it'll ripple into all your life. And then you are taken care. I think that's the thing. Like my parents used to be, I think probably were terrified of like what's going to happen to him, you know, because I was, led a colorful life and nothing that anybody would choose, right? Maybe not even me. And but in that, I think that the thing I used to get bummed. I was like, why can't they just like be happy or be proud or be like a thousand things and finally, like having some retrospective, I go, the only thing parents want is to know that you're going to be safe in the world if they're not here. Like if there's nobody that you're going to maybe make a contribution, that would be a plus. But baseline, just that you're going to be able to feed yourself and take care of yourself and that you'll be okay. And I feel like that's the biggest gift kind of that you give parents. And some people give that to them early on and some people not later and some people never. But I think that's the thing, is that thing. But when you become excellent at the first things, you learn that you train success. Whether that's when you learn how to tie your shoes or bake a cake or make a sandwich or like you do all those things excellently, you'll learn that matters, that it matters to have a standard.
Yeah. And even little things like making a really awesome smoothie every day. Don't just make a boring ass smoothie.
Yeah.
Make a good one.
Don't just throw it together to mail it in. Like fucking be an expert at that.
Yeah.
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 Where can people find you, Emily?
I'm on Instagram as Abbott the Red, or Twitter. I think I'm a Botsky439.
A Botsky?
ABBOTT ski. A Botsky 439. And then of course I'm on Facebook, Emily Abbott.
Do you have sponsors?
I'm a
I mean, besides Caveman Coffee, you know.
Oh, well, I had a bulletproof coffee, or like the Caveman.
Yeah.
He made it for me this morning. Oh my god,
awesome!
It got me going. Like it was so yummy.
Good.
Reebok Canada and Blonix is a big sponsor of mine.
I want to know one thing too before I got you here, is that like as a woman, do you find it different nutritionally than male athletes, or do you think it's? You only have the one perspective, I suppose, but from what you've seen, are there different needs? And because I was thinking that like some of my friends that fight mixed martial arts, they have to make certain weights,
right?
And so like if there's a period oncoming, they don't lose any more weight and they're fucked. Like, and so like controlling that, whether it's through birth control pills or through ways that they don't want to probably use even, but like they're like, I'm in this spot where I have to make weight, and so I need to know that I'm going to, or else like the stakes are kind of higher when your hormones fluctuate that way. And I was just wondering if you could speak to that, or if that has any bearing in your sport at all.
Well, I mean, in CrossFit, we don't ever have to make weight.
Right.
I mean, the only thing that I could probably do is maybe lose a few pounds so my gymnastics are a little bit easier. Because, heaving this big ass over some rings is really, really hard. Yeah. And I'll fatigue quicker than some of the smaller girls. But, to be quite honest, like, I have a nutritionist, but I'm someone who has like a deep emotional connection to food. So if I have to like follow some kind of like strict diet,
right,
happiness goes down. Yeah. And I know people say don't eat your feelings. Fuck that. I eat my feelings. Yeah. Last night I needed a pizza. Went and got a pizza. I think the more, obviously I'm not trying to make weight for anything, but the more you stress about that shit, like,
it's a thing. I get it. I feel it with this. Somebody tweeted me the other day. They're like, "Hey, how come you don't upload video anymore of the podcast that you do?" I'm like, A, this is all for free. Okay? and I'm letting you listen. B,
I'm letting you listen.
B, I can barely send an email.
Yeah.
And so for me to video something, like the kind of like, am I doing it right, and this and that, and then upload this and that, and like, I'm like, it sucks all the fun right out of it for me.
Totally.
So I'm like, make this easy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but everyone's different. Like, I know there's some people out there who are really, really consistent with their diet, and that makes them feel awesome. Great. Good for you. Yeah. But this is what I'm not going to feel ashamed about.
At different ages, different things come up too.
Yeah.
Like you have to tighten things up at different times because you'll recover differently. Like,
totally. Yeah. If you're like, I'm 27, if you're 30, like when I'm 30, it's going to be a completely different game.
Isn't that crazy? Just a few years change all that.
Yeah.
And then you'll be wanting to have babies and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, man.
So what happens at 30?
I don't know.
It just happens.
Are you sure about that?
That's what they say.
Well, when you hit 30, did your ovaries start screaming?
Yeah, my ovaries. Still my ovaries talk to me every day. They,
Tait.
Please. I'm overrun with estrogen. They're like, come on, dude. There's not a lot of shopping days left till Christmas. Let's get this done.
I know, but you're so lucky as a dude. Like, you could probably marry a really young person.
Who was it, Anthony Perkins or somebody at 72 or something had a baby? I'm like, that seems irresponsible.
Yeah.
Nobody wants dad at 82 when you're 10. You're like, you smell funny, dude.
Yeah. Your stories suck.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I don't want to hear about World War II anymore. Stop it. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
I look forward to seeing you in July.
Thank you.
It'll be awesome. How much longer are you here training?
Until Saturday.
Perfect. We'll travel well, and it was a pleasure to meet you, and thanks for joining me.
Thanks so much, sir.
All right. Sir, even. Hey, guys. This is a little addendum that I've got to do for my friend Emily Abbott. Emily Abbott and we had a fantastic conversation, and she is just badass intellectually as she is physically. Quite a specimen, man. And what a fantastic young woman. Look for her at the games this year. She's really something else. But anyway, she talks about in our podcast, she talks a little bit about the concept of the Schrodinger's cat experiment or theory. I'm not sure which it is. But she said, I was really wrong about what she'd said about it. And so she said, here's the real experiment. And she just wanted me to clear this up. So the real experiment of Schrodinger's cat, if you're interested, is a trip. Schrodinger's cat, here it goes. You've got a cat, you've got a flask of poison, and a radioactive source that are all placed in a sealed box. If an internal monitor detects radioactivity, for example, a single atom decaying, the flask is shattered, releasing the poison, and it kills the cat. The Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics implies that after a while, the cat is simultaneously alive and dead. I don't know why that is. Yet, when one looks in the box, one sees that the cat's either alive or dead. One sees the cat alive or dead, not both alive and dead. This poses the question of when exactly quantum superposition ends and reality collapses into one possibility or the other. And that's the idea of Schrodinger's cat. Y'all, I know you're going to dig this podcast. And please, or maybe this is at the end of the podcast. At any rate, Emily Abbott, thank you all so much for listening. And look for us both at the games.